Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another show. My name is Tyler, and I'm here with Matt, the founder of ORATS. ORATS is an options analytics platform built on top of over 15 years of historical options data. Our dashboard is integrated with Tradier, meaning you can research and discover trades on our platform and then seamlessly send them through to your Tradier brokerage account. Today on the show, we're going to talk about the importance of developing a trading plan. Matt, last week you were at the OIC Options Industry Conference. Do you want to talk a little bit about how that went before I jump in?
Yeah, it was a great conference. I was on a panel, one of the first big panels, very well received, on the state of the option industry. And we talked about all the growth in the industry and what we attributed it to. Typically people are talking about the rise in retail, zero DTE, all the new technologies, which is true. But one of the things I added was, we live in a culture that is very receptive to finance. I'm old enough to have lived through some decades that were not so receptive when you couldn't even say you're in finance. And so I think that's a big thing to protect as, an industry. We were talking to industry leaders there to, be careful. Don't do things that are too risky. I had friends at Lehman Brothers back in the day, and, they were just basically selling naked puts is what it all came down to. But so, watch the risk and do things responsibly in the market, do a lot of education, help the normal users out. Don't charge too much in rates. That includes exchange rates and commissions, and invite and introduce more people into what I think is a very important thing that we do in the economy. I mean, giving people a way to price risk affects people, not only people that are in there trading, but just the normal person on the street. It's very important to be able to see the level of volatility / risk / investment objectives, investment opportunities for people. And, like I said, it affects people that don't even invest. I mean, even just people that are getting jobs or pricing out products. This is all important. So, I try to communicate that and our responsibility as an industry. And like I said, it went over really well. Henry Schwartz, Arian of Webull, and Steve Sosnick of Interactive Brokers all joined me. And we got great feedback. And, Henry always does a good job on his slides. We'll be talking about one of the slides in particular later. And anyway, it was a great conference.
That's awesome. Yeah. You were out there for a week, which is why we couldn't do the live show last week, but we're back. And great to hear that went well, Matt.
I'm in New York now, so that's the weird backdrop. I'm in our shared office space here, and meeting with a lot of clients that are very interested in the things that we're doing. So great to get on, and sorry to miss a week, but a lot went on.
Yeah. All right. So this week we're going to focus on the importance of developing a trading plan. So what does that mean, Matt? What's the trading plan? Why is it important? Why should I not just go and make a trade haphazardly and expect it to go well?
Yeah. So one of the important slides, and I should have it up right now, but I think it's a little buried, was how the volume in the zero DTE SPX spiked at the top of the hour. So it was completely illuminating and interesting to me to see that, because what it shows is a lot of these bots and automated traders, we backtest a lot of these for people. Met the CEO of Option Omega, who's another zero DTE backtesting service, and we were talking about that quite a bit. And on our boards and other boards, a lot of people are talking about it on Twitter. So, I mean, it just shows the power of bots and how many people are out there, automatic trading. So whether you're automatic trading or whether you're, just trading manually, it's still important to have a plan. And that kind of brought it home, because these people that are trading a lot, dominating a lot of the volume out there, clearly have not only plans but automation behind them. So I wanted to come on this week and talk about what goes into a plan, why it's important, and just sticking to a plan for long enough that makes sense, and you could usually make that determination from back testing. So that's where my head is this week, Tyler.
Okay, great. And yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about our stance on automation then as well, if you wanted to include that in there. We have a lot of broker integrations, and what is how does ORATS involve ourselves in automation, and what's our plans for that? So just wanted to hear a little bit more about that as well.
Yeah, and there's some conflicts, right? I mean, we don't want to be a firm that backtests and proves out that you should trade a lot and on these certain times, because some of these automated trading firms do get paid for how many trades they're sending out. So our philosophy, we wanted to be a truly independent research firm, and automation we want to leave to others, because what we're doing is so much more difficult. I mean, automation is difficult, especially to keep it safe. But really, anyone can do automation with just a year or two of experience. But what really is difficult is what we're doing, Tyler, at ORATS, is coming up with proprietary calculations that are important, and we're showing that's important in order to use in order to find out when to trade in certain situations. One example is contango. So we measure that very well. We have very accurate at-the-money volatilities, and that allows you to draw an accurate contango skew. That contango means the front month volatilities are below the back months. Backwardation is the opposite. It's kind of a weird name that traders gave it, but that's what has stuck. That's just one of 100 different proprietary calculations that we use, and we'll leak out there. I mean, we have some methods now, but that's where we're going with our our dashboard and backtester. That's really where we're going with the whole product, is to emphasize our data and backtesting, and let others kind of do the automation. Now, we have definitely made it easier through alerts and through broker integrations to trade. But automation itself, if people really want to do that, they could go somewhere else. Otherwise, we're trying to put together, alerts and, like I said, a plan to trade based on our data, based on our backtesting, Tyler.
Okay, so yeah, when we talk about a trading plan, we're not talking about, oh, we're going to enter an automated trade at this time every day, and this is the plan, right? We're not involved in automation. When we talk about trading plan, it's more of a methodology, a practice of a series of steps you can replicate every time you want to make a trade, from research to implementation to review, and as we call that, the 4 pillars. And so that's more of what we mean when we talk about a plan. Not so much automation, but more of a set of steps that you can follow to really rigorously research and test the trade before you go out and actually try to make money with the trade.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the automation is just one part of an overall trading plan. That trading plan can utilize some automation, but what you want to do is know what to do if you're losing money. If you're automated, doesn't mean that you shouldn't turn off an automation at a certain point. For example, I think that you start a trading plan with knowing yourself and knowing what you have some knowledge in and can really get interested and be able to have the risk that you're comfortable with. So that's really the first part, like just kind of knowing how I want to trade. And then that kind of determines, is it options? Hopefully it is, but because options can give you so many different types of risk profiles. So that's the first step, is just to say, okay, this is a theory I have, this is what I want to be into. And then you could start to go and find, backtesting services, hopefully like ORATS, that you can get comfortable with what that strategy would look like in varying different markets. Like we go all the way back to 2007 with a lot of our back tests. So, you should see what that risk, really looks like. Also, what you want to do is once you backtest it, you want to backtest it with different symbols, different days to expiration. You don't want to overfit what you're doing. You want to find a backtest that really produces consistent results, and then you could see what your drawdowns are. So if you're all of a sudden trading and some weird stuff like happens, like the tariff, you can see what your drawdown level is, and if you're approaching that, then it might be time to like I said, turn it off or refactor or something. So you know what to expect when you do a backtest. And then one of the things that ORATS has then is you could go farther with a backtest. You can optimize when to get in and what times to avoid. There are times when your backtest does well under certain circumstances. For example, a risk reversal is when you buy an out of the money call, sell out of the money put, and sometimes that does better when the slope of the market is in a particular play, in this case high, where the puts volatility that you're selling is high, the calls are low, for example. So again, that's just one of hundreds of proprietary calculations that we can apply to backtesting returns to see when are the best times to get in and when are the best times maybe to avoid. And so that's the next step. So you found a strategy that you like. You've found a strategy that backtests well, and then you've gone in and you've found times based on proprietary indicators that you want to be in the market. So the next thing to do is try to figure out. Well, yeah, go ahead.
I want to touch on that a little bit more. There's two parts of that I think are very important to understand: is the path dependency and the overfitting. So these are really hard to get right when you're backtesting. Because path dependency is, if you start a backtest, it really depends on when you start it, right? And if you think about, if I'm just gonna trade once and then once it expires, I'll trade again. But if that's a 30-day strategy, you're very dependent on the exact day it starts because there's no re-entry, throughout the month. So what we do in our backtest is we re-enter every single day, once a day. And that reduces that path dependency a lot. So that's one important part of it. And the other part is overfitting. When you're talking about, Matt, those signals that we're adding or with the proprietary ORATS indicators, you have to make sure that you're not just sort of picking random stuff and testing it to make sure you're optimizing it to get it right. That's a pitfall of options backtesting, and we talk about that in the university a lot. And you just have to be really careful about that. And we have ways in ORATS to sort of identify when you're going overboard with that overfitting. So.
Yeah, and you did a great job programming that in, that p-value, right? I mean, that's one of the things that we're using that's super helpful. P-value, in its general terms, tries to predict the amount of your returns that are based on randomness. So you want that number very low, under 3 to 1%. Of the time, you want that very low, and that's one of the calculations that we're working on and bringing to the market in our next release. So we're very excited about that, Tyler.
Yeah, it's going to be great to help users solve that overfitting challenge because it's very easy. There's a lot of options backtesting platforms out there. And with those other platforms, it's very easy to overfit and be path dependent. So we put a lot of care into making sure you can sort of solve for those issues.
Yeah, and also, we're also building out a way to do just a ton to really help you out because sometimes when you're backtesting, some backtesters you have to fill out every single line, and then you have to go back and do it again and again and again. You might be able to do 20 an hour, and in our case, we've pre-run what is it, 375 or 275 million backtests, and you could sort through them based on your risk and levels that you can handle, and then you could go in and add criteria and see what the p-value is. So we've really made it easy to look through a lot of different strategies and come up with that strategy that makes sense to you. So right now I think we're on maybe the third step of the process, because then the next process, the next step of it is you want to then have this be part. It could be the only strategy that you do, and that's fine, but you might want to have this be part of a holistic plan. Like you do iron condors at this time, you might do long straddles at this time, you might combine those two. So the next step is just really to make a portfolio. And again, a portfolio could just be one one strategy if you're not that into it. But you, like many traders, want to be trading every day and trying to figure out in different market environments what are some important strategies that you want to do. And then what we can do is then you can combine a lot of these strategies and see your overall portfolio and returns, and optimize what's important to you. Is it Sharpe ratio? Is it Sortino? Sharpe ratio is the annualized return divided by usually like a risk-free rate. Sortino is similar, but only looks at your the volatility when it goes against you on the downside. So what you want to optimize what you're looking at, and when you combine strategies, you want to hope that those numbers that are important to you. Some people use MAR, which is a drawdown, your returns divided by a drawdown. You want to make sure that those numbers, are moving in your favor when you combine these different strategies. You might reduce the annualized return, which is fine, but you at the same time you should be lowering the volatility or lowering the drawdowns in order to come up with a very good and rational set of strategies that you're going to have in your portfolio in your trading plan, and be able to then the next step is implement those well, Tyler.
Yeah, that was a good. It's an important step. The scanning and stuff like that.
Yeah. So that's really the next step. Is like you have an iron condor like this one. This is, I just picked this up, but it's a 45-day iron condor at the money. It's selling. It's almost like an iron butterfly. When the spread is at the right price, right? This will sell. Like you could see in 2017, it didn't trade because volatility was so low. But anyway, so you need to then, be able to, scan for it. So, ORATS has scanners that are tied into backtesters. So it makes it really easy to implement your trading strategies. And also, we have alerts that will help you not only get out of a strategy, like this doesn't have an exit strategy associated with it, but it may if it's tied into a proprietary indicator. But then you need to be able to understand when to get in, when to get out, and have automation helping you, or else it just gets too cumbersome. It takes too long. A lot of these strategies that we're putting out, you can get it down just a few minutes a day once you spend a week or two developing it. It doesn't take that long to implement it.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. It's very quick to use, very easy to scan. There's a lot of links everywhere that you can pull up a backtest and scan on it. It's very easy to follow this. We do sort of put you in a path, right? Like this trading plan that we think is a good idea. So.
Yeah. So like I said, you could go in. You can. It sets up this is just one particular iron condor that the backtest picked out, and then you could look at things like sorting these by certain ranks and such, but that you could see what the payout picture is and where the market is, and this will help you trade. And then you could also add exit alerts that you'll get texts or whatever when when it's time to get out. So these are all super important things to consider when you're trading. And you mentioned the four pillars that ORATS really talks about. It's the research, it's the then implementation, it's the risk management, that's kind of in the portfolio, but then there's kind of the review. And so that's what I'd like to talk about now, unless you have any on those earlier three pillars, Tyler.
Yeah, no, let's move on to the risk and review, or the review specifically. So we just came out with this trade journal, and it's getting we're getting feedback on it. We're improving it, so it's starting to look really good.
Yeah.
And it works with your brokers too. So that's a cool thing.
Yeah. So this is a paper trading. This is a paper trading account. It starts with 100,000, and you're able to put trades on. So, I have a number of different trades here, and one of the things that that shows is how you're doing in a particular day, and but now what we've created is a trading journal. So it shows you all your positions. It shows you. I need to zoom out a little bit here. If it's too small, sorry about that. I'm on a laptop in New York right now. It shows you your profitability by symbol. So you want to periodically look at where your profit is coming from, and in this case, Tesla, we've made some money, and then you could just scroll down to the worst ones. And in NVIDIA L, I think I was testing that for some reason. And you could also look at your performance by strategy, long stock, and then the worst ones right now are short stock. So it's so you're able to kind of drill down to these particular trades that you have on, and you can see how much you made, and you can see also you could say, well, this iron condor will when did it do well? When did it not do well? So, I mean, it's a great, you want to have an integrated system to really show you all this information. And, this is one of the things that ORATS has built.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really nice to see all this stuff all in one place. Yeah, I think that's the purpose of the dashboard. In its heart is it just wants to be one place for these four pillars of trading in this trading plan. And we want to make that experience going through the pillars as seamless as possible. So doing back testing and having that be really easy, really quick, and then just going straight through to trading as quick and easy as possible. So that's really the goal with the dashboard. And that's what we're trying to do with the trade journal and the back tester and the scanners and all the other tools that you see there on the sidebar.
And I should mention, I don't think we've mentioned it on there, but we're working with different brokers, and where you could upload you could go get trades from your brokers and upload those. So that'll be coming soon as well, Tyler. So, of course, right. We're always producing things to help people out. We have an active community, and you could go chat in the community, and we have lists of things that we're building. So yeah, I mean, I it's a great platform. You've done a lot on the UI and a lot of the programming and calculation. So it's been and we're growing at it seems like we're having record days, weeks, and months every week now. So yeah, it's been great to see not only what we're doing, how we're helping people, but how people are turning on to ORATS, Tyler.
Yeah, it's been great to see the feedback and the interest. So excited. Yeah, I mean, if If you guys have any questions as well, we know the dashboard can be complicated. We're working on improving the experience there with more help and onboarding for new users. So that's some stuff we're working on. But if you guys have any questions, just reach out to us. Matt and I will likely respond. And we also have an AI chat agent at the top right corner of our website. I want to keep mentioning that because we're improving that sometime soon as well. So that's something you guys can use to ask questions about. Matt's asking it about Tradier. You can ask it questions about backtesting, the 4 pillars, anything about our indicators. So that's a super great resource. If you don't want to wait for a reply from us, that's a great place to go.
Great, Tyler. Well, yeah, that's I think that's a good show, and look forward to being around next week. I'll be back in my home studio. So
All right.
looking forward to getting home, and I appreciate you coming on. Appreciate Trader Hub for putting the show on.
Yes, thank you, Tradier, as always, and thank you, Matt, as well. Yeah, if you guys have any questions, reach out to us or leave a comment below. And we'll be back again next week. Thank you.
You know how the financial world goes. Here comes the buzzkill. Please make sure to take some time to read this boring disclaimer. We will owe you one.